Hey guys, I am back with another YouTube video today. I was literally meant to be doing it last night, but the problem was, I accidentally pressed the stop button. Therefore, I did not finish the video. So tonight, I am back again, properly, to do the video, and this time, nothing is gonna stop me. I'm pretty much gonna do it. So, basically, before I start getting into the subject, I want to literally give a big mention out to those who have been watching the videos, the recent subscribers who have been getting, because basically your support has meant everything. And also, pretty much to a subscriber who watches my videos, he actually gave me a bit of feedback in my last video, and I'd actually like to share it out because honestly, it's been really good feedback, and I think it's going to help me with my future videos. So, the subscriber is JB Walton03. I asked him if he was enjoying my videos, and this is what he said. So, he said, "At Callum Walton, I am. You are obviously passionate about your subject, and the conversational style is refreshing. I do think it would be good to have some prompt cards or something. Not a full script, maybe just a few pointers written down in advance to jog your brain." And honestly, I just want to say thank you for that feedback because I don't know why I didn't think of it before. So, with that in mind, anyone who has any feedback, please bring it on. And if you are still enjoying the videos, I would like to see what your suggestions are for a video. And with that, let's get on with it. So tonight I have actually had a few requests about this subject. It's been mentioned a couple of times from people who I've seen around work or just in general. And well, basically, it's a subject that everyone loves. I suppose it's been around for decades. It's brought so many people a lot of joy. The films or even series are fantastic. So tonight, and this is also going to be the title, which I have written down. Tonight's video is The Wonderful World of Disney. Now, if you've never grown up watching Disney, you have clearly been deprived of one of the greatest things that have been around for decades. It's absolutely fantastic. The films are hilarious, or they can be emotional. The series, they come up with a bunch of them. Now, there's a bit of a twist to this. So obviously, Marvel films and Star Wars films are involved, but I'm not going to be mentioning them because I've already done a review video of Marvel. I'm still probably going to do a couple of films of them on the subject itself, and then there's the what else did I say? Star Wars. That's another review video, completely different. So I will probably one day do that. I probably will do Star Wars one day, and probably another few Marvel ones, because again, fantastic subjects, all a part of Disney, but this one is just the Disney itself. So personally, I don't know how long Disney's been around for. I mean, a lot longer from before I was born. I think 1960s or 50s was probably when it started. Again, not entirely sure of dates, but either way, it's fantastic. And well, I've pretty much grown up with Disney since I was a kid. I can't remember which one was my first one, but honestly, whatever, I've loved it all. I've loved all of it. I really have. Some films I still haven't watched. Some films I'm just like, nah, I'll watch it and I'll tolerate it, but not my favourite. And then there are some of them which I've just completely fallen in love with. So, well, Disney's just, it's brilliant. It really is. It brings people a lot of joy. It can open up your imagination, I suppose. It can transport you to another world, literally, if you're watching Narnia or something like that, because technically that is a part of it. Or if you wanted to go into the land of Oz, joining Dorothy Gale in Return to Oz, which I have got no idea how on earth that was a spin off to The Wizard of Oz. I have no idea. And on the subject of The Wizard of Oz, I will probably also do a musical channel as well. So that is also another one for the books. um, or you've just got your animated films, or you've got the remakes of an animated film, because well, there's been a lot of them in the last 20 years or so. We've had quite a lot of remakes. We had Aladdin, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, The Jungle Book. There hasn't been a Robin Hood one yet, which would be interesting. I wonder how they would make a live action version of Disney of Robin Hood. That'd be pretty cool to see, actually. I've also heard that they've done The Little Mermaid as well. So, but then again, I haven't watched that one. And Mulan as well. They did that. So yeah, they've done pretty much quite a lot of films. So, and I am also going to be involving Pixar in this as well, because well, when you see things on Disney Plus, it will say Disney's Pixar. So I'm actually involving Pixar a part of this as well, because they're both pretty much the same thing. Like they'll bring anything together these days. So that's really good. So top films for me in the Disney section. So I have Aladdin, featuring probably one of the greatest actors there is, if not the greatest actor, is Robin Williams. Now, he did an absolutely fantastic job as the genie. Like, I first watched Aladdin in 2014, which I know is a shock. But we were doing it for different sections of a dance routine in school, and I was the genie. And yeah, like when I watched Aladdin, I thought it was so funny, I thought it was brilliant, and I just kept on thinking to myself, how have I not watched this earlier? Because that's the thing. You can be judgmental on something that you haven't even seen yet, which is understandable. You're going to have your own opinion about it, which is probably not everyone's opinion, but by the by, it's yours. If you don't like something, you don't like it. Simple as. But if you get into it, brilliant. So for me, Aladdin, well, it was just a great film. Great cast members, great songs, very catchy moves, and the comedy in it as well. It was just incredible. But then that's also going into the live action film. I did go to see that. That starred Will Smith as the genie, and honestly, I loved that version. Now, another thing when it comes to live action and animation of films, you're going to want to compare them. You're always going to look for the things that you like to spot. Is there similarities between the songs? Is there differences? Which most likely there is. Because when I watched the live action version of Aladdin, I noticed that there was quite a few differences. I noticed that they changed some of the lyrics to the songs in Prince Ali, and I think some of them were different in A Friend Like Me as well. Obviously, it's good to have a mix. You don't want to copy everything, because if you were going to try and copy every single thing from the original, well, that's just like plagiarism, isn't it? You can keep some things the same, and you can change it up on others. Now, the live action film, well, I just loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. like completely different to the original. And one thing that I admired about it was that Will Smith said he wasn't going to copy Robin, and I respect that because you don't want to go copying the actor who was previous. You don't. That's like stepping on their foot, I suppose, because you've got to bring your own fresh perspective to it, and I reckon Will did that. And I'm really hoping they do a second version of the new one. I really do. Second Disney film of mine, The Lion King. Watched that in 2011. I had it years previous before that on video, and that sounds weird. Uh, but no, I love The Lion King. It's absolutely fantastic. The animated version, it's lovely. But the live action, now I heard some trouble about that. I witnessed it a little bit myself as well. Now, just can't wait to be king. I preferred the other version, the animated, because no offense to any of the actors in it, but the person who sang it, Just Can't Wait to Be King, in the live action, it sounded a little bit off key coming to the end. It's a hard, challenging song, and it's hard to do justice. There were some parts of it that I really loved, but then there were other parts that just didn't seem. It didn't seem as funny as what it would have been in the original. But then again, that's by the by. We all have our opinions. We like to see what's different. So there we go. Another one, Beauty and the Beast. Now, believe it or not, I actually preferred the live action. Not just because Emma Watson was in it, because, well, come on, it's Emma Watson. Oops. But, no, aside from that, they also had other fantastic actors in it. They had Ewan McGregor playing Lumiere, Ian McKellen as Cogsworth, Emma Thompson, Mrs. Potts, Dan Stevens as the Beast, and quite frankly, they did a brilliant job. And they also had Luke Evans as Gaston as well, and Josh Gad as LeFou. I honestly think that version was better than the original. Now, don't get me wrong, I liked the original, and I also watched An Enchanted Christmas of Beauty and the Beast, just as good. But sometimes there are just some things that you have that take your fancy. It's like you could say some of the songs. Now, at first, when I first watched the film, the live action of Beauty and the Beast, I kind of thought to myself, you know what, I prefer the other version of Be Our Guest. But then you get used to it, because you had brand new songs in the live action. You had Evermore and Days in the Sun. That was a new one. And you try so hard just to remember the original, which you can always do, because nothing will ever replace an original film. Never. Like, it will always be there. So, the next one, Sword in the Stone. Now, that one, I love that one. Absolutely brilliant. And I hope they don't do a live action of it, because you cannot copy the werewolf scene or the wolf scene. Oh, it's just his cute little face. It's the sounds that he makes, and it's just it's just the movement in the screen. It's brilliant. So they better not make a live action of that. If they do, I'll probably watch it, but we'll see. The next one, Robin Hood, which that I mentioned. Now, Robin Hood, oh my god, I've watched that since I was a kid. I absolutely love that version of the film. The beginning of it, the whistling scene going into like the intro. Wow. Talk about an intro. It can get a bit annoying though if it gets in your head. You start whistling it all the time. And I did. I used to do it all the time on the school bus. Whoops. It's a catchy tune. Really, really catchy. The next one, The Jungle Book. Now, there's a big difference in opinion here. I prefer the animation to the live action. Don't get me wrong, the live action was okay, but it was not great. Honestly, it was just. There was just something about it that I couldn't get into. I watched it, and I will still watch it, but I'll tolerate it. But the original version, absolutely unparalleled, fantastic. Like, because, well, with that one, it always brought me joy. Like, it still does. Like, the songs in it, like, Bare Necessities and King Louis' version of I Want to Be Like You. But in the other version, in the live action, it just was not as good. Which is a shame, really, because when I saw they were doing a live action of The Jungle Book, I really thought it'd have more potential. And there was also The Jungle Book 2 in animation as well. That one, nah, don't really know what to think. It was okay, but that's all it gets from me. Just an okay. And then, the last one I've got in the best Disney category, Mary Poppins. Now, excuse me, Julie Andrews as Mary Poppins, absolutely fantastic. I mean, for a film in the 1960s, you can't go wrong. No wonder why her career took off back then. As well as also the amazing actor who I absolutely love, Dick Van Dyke. Now, he played Bert in Mary Poppins, and oh my god, his character was just fantastic. He was so funny. Like, and I'm kicking myself for this because I do not have Mary Poppins on DVD. I am kicking myself for it. Like, I was watching that film since I was a kid, and oh my god, I loved it. I still do love it. Now, don't get me wrong. Mary Poppins Returns with Emily Blunt, it was a good film, but it, well, you can't really replace Julie Andrews, can you? She's one of a kind. And the first Mary Poppins was fantastic. Personally, I think they might have left Mary Poppins a bit too late. Because this one came out about what, maybe 8 years ago, I think. Could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. But this is the thing, you see. With some films, they leave them too late. Sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't. Which is also on to the next move now with Pixar. So, favourite Pixar films, just going to put it out there. The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Toy Story. I think I'm just sticking with Toy Story, the first one. Cars, and A Bug's Life. Love that one. So, most of those films that I mentioned have had a long gap. So, The Incredibles 2, I haven't watched it. Because, for me, came out way too late. Don't get me wrong, some films are worth the wait, but for Incredibles 2, it just wasn't. I watched a little bit of it, but I completely refused to watch the rest of it because I'm not really wanting to see what happens. They left it way too late. Boo. Finding Nemo, I also mentioned. Now that one. God, now this is going to go all nostalgia. So, I think it was like my 6th or my 7th birthday. My nan and granddad actually got me that on video, and I just loved it. Like, Finding Nemo was one of the greatest films out there. It still is. I always remembered the part of the sharks. Fantastic. But they did Finding Dory in 2016. It was okay. Wasn't the best. Again, the gap. Too much of a gap. A Bug's Life. Love that film. So funny. Especially the twins. I love the twins. I have a video saved on my YouTube. It's just funny. I also mentioned Cars as well. Now, I've seen 2 and 3. But the first one, I prefer the first. It's funny, it's got Owen Wilson in it, and it's just a fantastic film. But also another couple of Disney films that I haven't mentioned. Frozen, a hell of a good film there, including Frozen 2, just as good. And also Return to Oz, the 1985 film starring Fairuza Balk as Dorothy. Now, like I said, I do not know how that is a sequel to The Wizard of Oz, because when I first watched that film, I read the back, and I'm just thinking, okay, it's got different characters in it now. This is a little bit different. But you know what is the most, and I'm gonna say, frustrating bit, or even a bit of a con, the cover. The cover of all of Dorothy and her friends on the yellow brick road in front of the Emerald City. You are going to immediately think it's like the other version. It's going to be filled with musicals, songs and stuff, and the theatricality. Wrong! Turns out, you start off in a mental hospital, you turn out to go to the damaged version of the Emerald City, you've got men with hands, you've got men with wheels for hands and legs, who are called wheelers, and this woman who practically has 31 heads, and a gnome king. I mean, what? What were they thinking? They are making a classic into a Disney horror. Don't get me wrong, I'm still watching Return to Oz. It creeps me out with the Wheelers. I am not discouraging that for a minute. They creep me out. I had nightmares about them as a kid. I'm not joking. But no, I got tricked. I got tricked. I was very naughty of the Disney. Very naughty. But also, when you come to other Disney films as well, when you watch them, you notice similarities. So, like, I mentioned Robin Hood earlier. The man, or rather actor, who did the voice of Friar Tuck was also Winnie the Pooh. I mean, come on. You cannot get more innocent than that. Winnie the Pooh, man. You can't get any more innocent. It's absolutely brilliant. I still remember watching that. Especially Tigger. I used to do the Tigger laugh when I was a kid. I don't think I do it now, thank God. And I am not testing it. No way. This is not an impression. But no. Basically, with Disney and Pixar, it's just amazing, isn't it? We've all grown up watching it, and like I said, if you haven't, you have been deprived. You have had a childhood deprived. It doesn't matter whether you're a kid or an adult, you can still watch it. It's classic and it's timeless. It really is. Like I found myself watching films from like decades back that were fantastic with Disney then and are still fantastic now. Like, it doesn't matter what you watch. I mean, they're a live action now, which can change it maybe for the good or for the better, or they can just be a proper live action anyway, or like even just like mini films. I mean, you've got High School Musical, the Santa Claus movies, Descendants, Camp Rock. You've got all that kind of stuff. It's brilliant. I mean, obviously you've got Descendants, which is kind of more like for kids and stuff, and High School Musical, which is like coming of age and that kind of thing, because it's set in high school and whatnot. Camp Rock, well, it's just camp, really. It's a camp. And the Santa Claus movies, obviously it's pretty good for kids, and also they've recently just released a Santa Claus series on Disney Plus with Tim Allen reprising the role again. And, well, it's brilliant. I've watched the episodes so far. I think they're pretty good. So that was one for me to watch. Not only that though, but Disney Plus is really good just to get the nostalgia back, I suppose. It's really good just to get it back again. But yeah, what else can I say about Disney that people don't already know? It fills you with joy, it gives you a hell of a laugh, or it can give you a complete different turn of emotions, but Disney's always going to be around. And quite frankly, I'm quite glad it is. Because it's just fantastic. Like, I don't know what's more popular with Disney. Like, everyone has their own thing. Like, I heard a lot about Encanto. I've heard so much about that. I haven't watched it. But then again, maybe one day. And that's also what I'd like to reach out with. Like, if anyone has any favourite Disney films that I probably haven't even seen or heard of, put them in the comments. Because quite frankly, I could do with some entertainment to watch. You like your Disney? So do I. And if you have literally anything to suggest, go for it. Because that's what this is for. This is what this is all for. It's to take your ideas and pop them into videos. And I think I've got a few potentials for the upcoming ones, including my previous weekend just gone by, where I was in London, and if I do make that a video, I'll try and make it as interesting as possible. But no, as always, thank you for the support. I love all my fans, despite only having about 22 of them or something like that. But either way, the support means everything. It really does. And I hope you have all enjoyed the video of the wonderful world of Disney. And if you like what you see, like, subscribe, tell everyone else about it. And I will be back in the next video. See you all later.